Hi and welcome to the video. I'm Dame and this is Dame Over, and in today's video we are looking at shotguns, but not just which shotgun might be best at range or which shotgun has the most gold on the skins. It's the 12 gauge, by the way. No, we are talking about how to really own the battlefield when you're running around with a whole load of buckshot in your barrel just waiting to be unleashed all over someone's face or chest. Wait. I've come up with a list of 8 tips and tricks and ways to play that will help improve how you play with shotguns as a whole. These vary from positional play to outsmarting your opponent, but all of them when used properly will most certainly help you stay alive longer and pick up those all-important kills. So if you find this video useful or entertaining, make sure you hit that like button before you go. To kick things off, we'll start with the easy stuff. Each shotgun in Battlefield 1 has its own area of expertise and its own areas of weakness too. It might seem really obvious to say, but learning what these are and where you are most effective is key to getting the most out of your shotgun. Too often I'll see someone try to shoot cross-map with a Shergren, and while it can be fun if it does work, the chances of that are very, very slim. So learn what your shotgun is good and bad at. This way you'll soon know which areas to go into and which ones to avoid. If you play to the strengths of your weapon, you're far more likely to win the fight you're going to get in. Always be thinking about what your shotgun is best at. Is it effective at longer ranges like the slug variants or Model 10A? Is the fire rate at short range what gives it its strength, like the 12 gauge? Or do you need to make sure you're fighting one person at a time, like with the Model 1900? Work out where the strengths lie and how you can best use them to your advantage. If you do this, you'll soon have an instinctive knowledge of which fights you should engage in and which ones you should leave alone. Map knowledge is a very important part of any multiplayer game, but in an FPS title it is imperative to doing well, and it's even more so when you're using a shotgun. It's vital that you have close quarters engagements, so having the knowledge of which parts of the map will play to the strengths of your shotgun will have a big impact on how well you do. So, learn which parts of the map keep the action close. What is the best way to approach an objective? What's the quickest route from one section to another? Which hotspots or high action areas will allow you to use your shotgun to its fullest? Where do people usually camp? Which route will give you the most cover? If you know all of this, then you'll know step by step how to approach each gunfight. And if your opponent doesn't know, then you've got a huge advantage over them. And if they do, you can decide which is the most difficult way to fight against it. Because after all, knowledge is power. Identifying what you're fighting against is just as important as your own personal gun skill, and if you don't know what weapon your opponent has, then you won't know the best way to fight it. If you're fighting a sniper, then very close range suits them least. If it's an assault class user, then you should probably try to get the drop on them. Force the medic to use his rounds and reload before you push, or keep moving unpredictably to upset the aim of the support player. Knowing what you're up against is half the battle. This is a very simple technique that involves you presenting something tantalizing to someone to draw them in before blasting them in the face with your Model 10. In the case of running a shotgun, it involves you allowing yourself to be seen by an enemy and moving away to an advantageous spot that will draw them into the effective range of your shotgun. I think it goes without saying that you should probably be yelling, "Chase me! Chase me!" while this is all going on, but I'll leave that part up to you. These three link nicely into each other, so I've grouped them together, and all three use your recently acquired map knowledge. We'll start with positional play. Since you know where the high traffic parts of the map are, find a power position that gives you an advantage over the other team as they enter the area. This may be behind a piece of cover, on top of a building, or by simply having the high ground. Anakin. Set your trap and hit your enemies when they're at their weakest. This technique works really well if you want to lock down an area. So if there's a section of the map that is beneficial to you as a shotgun user, clear it out and hold your position. You'll then be able to dictate when your next fight will happen, as you'll know where the other team will be approaching from. Make sure you're always switching positions and remaining unpredictable, as more often than not someone will be coming back for a revenge kill. I always advise flanking when using any weapon, but when you're using a shotgun, this is where your main focus needs to be. If you can get behind or to the side of an enemy, then you'll be able to take them down quickly and easily with minimal risk to yourself. I always try to think, where will the other team not be looking? And I go for that route. As far as unpredictability is concerned, the path less travelled is key. And while it's good to know the well-used flanking routes, sometimes this isn't always the best option. Try using the terrain or structures in an inventive way. Try jumping down from a building to get behind someone. Jump over a fence instead of running around it. What it boils down to is behaving in a way the opposition won't expect and are not used to fighting against. It will give you that split-second advantage that you need to shut them down. And now we get onto the more advanced stuff. What should you do if there's more than one enemy? Which one should you shoot first after an effective flank? Obviously this can all change in the blink of an eye on Battlefield 1, but by prioritising those enemies that are the most threat to you first, you'll improve your chances of picking up the multi-kill. It sounds obvious, but take out the enemies looking at you first. Work out before jumping into a fight where the enemy is positioned so you can move appropriately to find your first target. Your next priority should be those that are most adept at taking you down, and as a shotgun user, that's more often than not the assault class. Take down the most powerful weapon against you first. Anything with an instant or fast time to kill should take priority. As I've mentioned multiple times before, you need to get within the effective range of your shotgun, and your movement is the foundation block of this. It stands to reason that getting closer to your enemy is the only way for you to take them out effectively, and if you can do this well, then it's the most powerful skill in your arsenal. So, how do you get within range, or as I like to call it, close the gap? Well, it's a mixture of multiple techniques. Moving from cover to cover is the most basic, but implementing unpredictable movements, serpentining if there isn't enough cover, and very importantly breaking line of sight can all help in getting you close enough to blast your enemy away. The most useful part of your movement as a shotgun user though is the slide mechanic. You can use this to throw off other players' aim, slide into cover, or do my favourite, which is slide around corners to surprise your opponent. And a bonus tip for those of you that play with a controller, there's one small adjustment that I've made to my controller layout that has drastically changed how I use the slide mechanic, and that is remapping the slide button from B or circle to R3 or clicking in the right stick. This way you can slide and aim simultaneously, so you don't have to sacrifice accuracy when you're implementing this technique. And those are my top 8 tips and tricks to help you improve your shotgunning. I have personally seen a huge improvement from when I first picked up a shotgun in Battlefield 1. Whereas before I left a lot of it to chance, I now feel confident that I can play a game and have the right skill and mindset as a shotgunner to do well every time. And it's very possible for you to do it too. Applying these techniques can have a huge impact on your gameplay and will massively alter your effectiveness as a shotgun user. If you've got any tips or tricks for using a shotgun that I might have missed off, then make sure you let me know in the comments below. So if you had a good time, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button too. Feel free to share this video with whoever and wherever you like. And until next time, that's game over. Peace.